But it is important not to get the G21 Head Up Display here confused with the G20 Head Up Display, because it is actually significantly different from the G20, and in many different ways as well. So yes, you could say the G21 Head Up Display is a bit like a sheep dressed in wolf's clothing. They look almost identical from the outside, but on the inside, they couldn't be more different. But it still goes without saying, the G21 is without any doubt a great head-up display, and you're about to see why. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hello and welcome to the channel, and I hope you like today's video. If you like car technology content, then hit that subscribe button because that's what you're going to see on this channel. Okay, so this little guy here is the G21 Head-Up Display. Even though some of you may be thinking, no it's not, that's the G20 Head-Up Display, and you have already reviewed it before. But no it's not, it's the G21. However, I do totally understand why you would think that, because yes, it does look absolutely identical to the G20 Head-Up Display, which again, you're right, I have reviewed on this channel before, and that was about 10 months ago as well. But the G21 is, in fact, quite different. I mean, okay, looking at the outside of the device, it does make it impossible to tell the difference between the two different devices. Yes, I agree. But the inside of the device is a significantly different design. Actually, at first, I thought, oh, okay, the G21 is just an updated version of the G20, but it's honestly not. However, when comparing the G21 to the G20, I have to admit, the redesigning the manufacturer has done with this head-up display has improved it 99% more than the G20. And the G20 is also a really good head-up display as well. But hang on, why did I say only 99% improved? Why is it not 100% improved? Well, there's actually one thing the G21 does have in common with the G20, and it's a feature I personally am not a big fan of. If you have already seen my G20 head-up display review, then you will already know that it was a silent operating head-up display. Yes, that's right, there was no built-in buzzer inside the G20 at all. It was strictly designed as a visual and silent operating head-up display only. So you probably know exactly what I'm going to say right now, and you would be right. The G21 is no different. It is also a silent operating head-up display. Now, there is nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I know some of you hate the buzzer on head-up displays, as a lot of you ask me how to turn them off. And to be honest, the G21 is a HUD that has been designed just for those people who only want a silent operating head-up display. In actual fact, silent operating head-up displays are becoming rare to find, as 98% of head-up displays these days are audible. And for me personally, I want a head-up display that is both visual and audible. But of course, everyone is different. If the G21 had a built-in buzzer as well, I can tell you right now, in my opinion, the G21 would be 100% improved if you compare it to the G20. And I'll show you why. Okay, so let's start off with the USB-C port here on the back of the G21. Yes, the micro USB port has finally been replaced, and that is really good news because that's one improvement that, in my opinion, was desperately needed. Micro USB has always been a huge problem with any device that it has been designed with. Most people hate micro USB, and I am definitely one of those people. Now the G21, just like the G20, is again very easy to install because it just attaches to your front windscreen using this supplied windscreen suction type mounting adapter. You can also stick it to your dashboard. You can apply some adhesive tape, which they supply in the kit, to the bottom of the device and then just stick it onto your dashboard. But I prefer using this. This is a common way to mount many of the HUDs from the G series family. And not only do I love it, but from my experience so far, these mounting brackets also seem to be very universal as well. So they will work with the other models as well, which is good because I have actually broken one of these before. If you're a little bit aggressive with it, the end there can snap off, then resulting in nothing for the head-up display to attach to. You do have to be quite aggressive with it, but they will break. And to fix the problem, all I did was just use a bracket from another head-up display from the G series family. The G21 is again a very compact and clean looking design, and it's so simple to operate, as you just use this single scrolling wheel here on the top of the device to do everything. This is how you navigate through the different settings of the device, and pressing the center of the scrolling wheel also works as a confirmation button as well, and a display mode selection button as well. The G21, just like the G20, is strictly a GPS controlled head-up display. And yes, it does just turn on and off with your ignition as well automatically, providing the USB port you plug it into, of course, is ignition controlled as well. For example, like the cigarette lighter socket in most cases, when using a USB adapter with them. But of course, not all cars are set up that way. There is actually no manual way to turn the G21 on and off though, so you would need to unplug it if your USB port is not ignition controlled. Now, it does not matter where in the world you live if you want to use the G21 head-up display, because the G21 is of course a head-up display that supports both kph and mph speed units. And like all the other G-series head-up displays, the speed accuracy is adjustable as well if you find that it is not accurate with the speedometer of your particular vehicle. Adjustment will be required for some vehicles, but that is normal with all head-up displays. For me personally, on my Alfa Romeo here, generally the GPS head-up displays are mostly accurate to my speedometer, but I do have to adjust the accuracy a little bit with some of the OBD2 head-up displays. But this will be different for everyone, as no car is the same. Now, as for the features and operation of the G21, this is where it outperforms the G20 quite a bit. First of all, unlike the G20, which just uses a single level display, the G21 actually has a dual level display, one above the other. So this allows you to view multiple information on the display screen at the same time, which is very useful. It does also include a built-in compass as well. You can see the little north symbol at the top there. And it does also have the addition of a built-in altitude meter as well. Of course, like most GPS controlled head-up displays, it also has a built-in satellite meter as well. So you can see where the HUD when the HUD has made a connection with the satellite. This here is the built-in clock, and it supports both the 12-hour and 24-hour formats as well, which is always a nice feature to have. And yes, a built-in fatigue driving alarm is another included feature as well, which interestingly enough is by default turned off, which is different as they are generally set to 8 hours by default. But with the G21, the fatigue driving alarm is however adjustable between 1 to 8 hours. But of course, only a visual alarm can be set with the G21, so when you have been driving for a long period of time, it will remind you to pull over and have a rest. This feature really though, in my opinion, is not really needed with a silent operating head-up display, but it is there if you want to use it. The G21 does also support the auto brightness dimming feature as well, just like the majority of all other head-up displays, and the brightness can also be adjusted manually as well in the settings if required. From my experience, it never is though, as the automatic feature always seems to work perfectly for what you and your eyes need. And lastly, it does also include a built-in mileage odometer as well, which is what you can see on the display screen at the moment. This is a nice feature to have, which is also supported with some of the other head-up displays as well. So being a silent operating head-up display, there probably isn't any speed alarm feature, right? No, wrong. Just like the G20, the G21 does also support multiple speed alarms. So you can set up a total of 3 individual speed alarms with the G21, but of course they are all visual speed alarms only. So when triggered, they will just flash a red light. Or they can also be set up in combination with this ambient light feature, which is disappeared from the screen. There it is there, it's back again. Just so you can see it around the edge of the display screen there. You can set it up in combination with that. I'll give you an example of this multiple speed alarm feature working now actually. I personally think it is more effective when used with the ambient lighting, so I'll demonstrate it using that. So we'll go into the settings of the device. Okay, and as you can see, I've got the first speed alarm set to 50 kilometers per hour, the second set to 40 kilometers per hour, and the third set to 30 kilometers per hour. So now when I get up to 30 kilometers per hour, the visual speed alarm will flash, but of course, not being an audible speed alarm, you are not going to be able to hear anything. Also, as you may have noticed, I have the speed alarm set up from 1 as the highest speed at 50 kilometers per hour to 3 at the lowest speed of 30 kilometers per hour. And yes, from my experience, it is best to set up these multiple speed alarms starting with the highest speed set as your first speed alarm, because if you don't, the first speed alarm can overwrite all of the other higher speed alarm values. Well, actually with the design of the G21, this is not really needed because not being an audible head-up display, it does not really affect it. But for many other head-up displays, it definitely does. In the past, I didn't think of actually trying this. You may have seen this from my other head-up display reviews. I usually do it the other way around with the first speed alarm set to my lowest speed So that would be 30 kilometers per hour in this case. I have found it does work a lot better though doing it in reverse order. So when setting up multiple speed alarms, I would only recommend doing it by setting up your first speed alarm as your highest speed, so in reverse. But again, with the G21, as I said before, this is not really important. Anyway, let's test this out now so you can see exactly how this works. Okay, so that's the multiple speed alarm feature working, and even though it does not support audible alerts, just like the G20, as you can see, this feature does still work really well. Now, there are also 4 display themes to choose from with the G21. Actually, just before I continue, if you see any flickering on the display screen of this head-up display, I do apologize for that. It's not a problem with the head-up display itself, it's a problem with my camera when it versus the bright sunlight. Trying to shoot these head-up display reviews inside the car on a really bright day like it is today is an absolute nightmare. It's now spring, so the temperatures are getting higher and the sun's getting brighter throughout the day, so it's causing a lot of problems, so I do apologize for that. Anyway, let's go back to what I was saying before. So there are 4 display themes to choose from with the G21, and you can choose from these by simply pressing the scrolling wheel to the left multiple times, as I'm doing now. But as you can hopefully see on the camera, these are basically just 4 different ways that involve turning the ambient lighting on and off. The G21 HUD does, however, support 8 different types of display modes as well, which can work in combination with this. They are all easily selected by using the scrolling wheel again with multiple presses. And these 8 different display modes you can choose from are the speed displayed by itself, as you can see on the display screen at the moment, the speed displayed with the clock, the speed with the mileage odometer, the speed with the driving time monitor, the speed with a driving distance monitor, the speed with an altitude meter, the speed with a performance gauge. This is just a feature that you can use to measure your acceleration time, so it's useful for performance cars. The speed with the GPS satellite meter, and you can also just have the clock displayed by itself as well, as you can see on the display screen at the moment. You can actually also choose to have the built-in compass displayed at any time with any of these display modes as well, as that is also a feature that can be manually turned on and off, and you do that by just sliding the scrolling wheel to the right. So there's an example of all the different display modes and themes that you can choose from with the G21 Head Up Display. Now, if you have already seen my G20 Head Up Display review 10 months ago, then you will now see that the G21 is quite a bit different. Now, with these head-up display reviews, I get asked hundreds of questions from you guys, mainly in regards to the setting up of the device. For example, the most common question I would get by far would be, how do you change the speed unit from kilometers per hour to miles per hour? When you have never used a head-up display before, I can totally understand how confusing the instruction manual can be to read and understand. I have placed 3 examples in the description area below this time that can hopefully help anyone who needs it. I have provided you with an easy step-by-step guide on how to change the G21 from kilometers per hour to miles per hour, how to set up the speed alarms, and how to change the time format from 12 hours to 24-hour format. I'm guessing this is probably the 3 most common things I would get asked with the G21 in particular. If you find this helpful, please do remember to hit the like button, because that does really help support the channel. And at the moment, with all these changes that YouTube have made with their algorithm, which from what I've seen and heard by so many other creators, it seems to be having a really negative effect for a lot of other channels as well. Even the big channels with hundreds of thousands of followers. So, in my opinion, the more support, the better. Now, as you have seen, if you like silent operating head-up displays, the G21, in my opinion, is probably one of the best that is currently available. The performance is great, the quality is great, and even the price is great. Yes, the G21 is also another very affordable head-up display, and at the time of this review, it's only going to cost you approximately 40 New Zealand dollars. It doesn't surprise me at all that the G21 is so good, because it is another member of the G series family, and anyone who follows this channel knows I'm a huge fan of all the G series head-up displays. Yes, I do absolutely love every single one of them that I have reviewed so far. When it comes to quality and reliability, the G series is hard to beat from my experience. Now, there are actually a few other head-up display reviews coming up soon as well, but none of them are members of the G series family, so it will be interesting to see how well they perform. I know one of them in particular is hopefully going to be popular with a lot of you, as I've reviewed a similar head-up display before, and that video did incredibly well. So obviously it's the type of head-up display that a lot of you are searching for, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. And now again, as good as the G20 head-up display was, in my opinion, it's no match when compared to the G21 here. This is a really good head-up display, and it's got more features as well. The multiple display screen is a nice improvement, but I do have to admit the upgraded USB-C port on the back is a fantastic improvement. To be fair though, the G20 is an older model head-up display, whereas the G21 is a new model for 2025. And yes, I am well aware there is a G22 model available now as well, but that's a completely different model which cannot really be compared with the G20 at all. If I get the opportunity to review the G22 for you, of course I will. Remember, you will of course find other reviews for several other G-series head-up displays on this channel as well, including even more head-up displays from other brands, so be sure to check out the head-up display playlist on this channel if you're looking for a head-up display. The head-up display playlist is growing, not only in content but also in views. In fact, it is now the most popular playlist on this entire channel by a long stretch. I noticed that it has had thousands of views, and none of my other playlists have had even close to that. So I'm glad so many of you are finding it so useful. It's now going to grow one head-up display more with the addition of this G21 review, and with even more coming as well. Anyway guys, that brings us to the end of another video, and thank you so much for watching. For anyone who is interested in purchasing the G21 head-up display for themselves, I have put a link in the description area below, as always, for anyone who needs it. If a silent operating head-up display is what you're looking for, then I could easily recommend the G21. Anyway, if you like this video or found it helpful, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, where you can watch even more car tech videos, and I hope to see you all in the next video.